Alright, Game of Thrones. Wow, this was a real doozy, real doozeroni, real leap off the deep end of insanity. So we start off, and we get a real major kind of death right in the beginning. Varys, unfortunately, got roasted bad by Daenerys, who at this point is looking crazier and crazier every couple minutes. They put him to death. He's got his little birds trying to poison Daenerys, and luckily her psychosis has made it so that she's not hungry. So she survives, obviously. All this crazy shit is going down. They're getting ready to attack King's Landing. The Unsullied are pissed. Jon Snow is kind of he's not doing super good, and everything is kind of coming to a head in a really scary way. You're not quite sure what's going to happen. You know that they've got all these scorpion crossbows that could ostensibly just smoke Drogon at any moment. So, going to the battle, you're like, what the fuck's going to happen? How's this going to shake out? Jaime gets captured on his way south by the Unsullied because of his fucking hand. They know who he is, and they capture him. And just prior to this, Daenerys tells Tyrion that if he fails her again, she's going to roast him just like Varys. And he's a little bit, he's scared. That happens, and Tyrion goes to find Jaime, and he's like, look, I'll let you go, but you've got to get these bells rung. Because if they ring the bells, the attack will stop, and everybody will be safe, except for Cersei, probably. And Jaime's like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm going to go fucking bust that thing out one last time, and then I'm going to ring the bells. So the battle starts to come down the pike, and Arya and the Hound show up, and they fucking get right into the city right as the gates close. And they get there right as Jaime gets there too. All these people are rushing, it's a huge crowd, it's very scary. Arya and the Hound get inside kind of the main keep area, and Jaime's got to go all the way around, go down into the sewers, and try to make his way up. First things first, Daenerys destroys the Iron Fleet by just bobbing and weaving and annihilating everything. She blows up Euron's ship, which you think he's fucking dead because he flies off into the ocean. She destroys the Iron Fleet. Then the Golden Company is all stacked up out in the front of the gates, and the Unsullied are there, and they're like, all right, well, let's go, dude. What are we going to do? And the gate to King's Landing just explodes. The whole fucking thing fires off as Daenerys flies through it. She destroys all the Scorpion crossbows pretty easily. A little bit too easily, if you ask me. I mean, there was a lot of them, and they were all aimed right at her. And there's a part where they're loading one, and they're right about to shoot it, and she comes and smokes one. So, maybe if she just had a little bit more situational awareness, Rhaegal would still be alive. So they torch basically everything. Grey Worm gets this badass moment where he just drills the leader of the Golden Company, and you can add him to the list of people who are super fucking dead. And they enter the city, and they've got him. They basically create this chokehold where basically Jon Snow and all the Northmen, and these are Davos and Grey Worm, they're all pushing in, and they stop. There's all the Lannister soldiers. And then the dragon lands right here, and is looking down at them, and rawr. And all the Lannisters are like, oh, what the fuck's gonna happen? So then we cut away, and we see Jaime making his way down through the cove, comes out of the sewers, goes up to the cove, trying to get up to the castle, to the Red Keep. And Euron Greyjoy just comes out of the ocean and is like, well, we lost, but I'm still gonna fucking kill you. And Jaime's like, bring it on, you little fucking Swedish bitch. So they fight, they have this brutal little fight, and Euron unfortunately stabs Jaime twice. Once in each fucking kidney, dude. Real deep stiletto. And Jaime just barely kind of gets up enough strength to be able to stab Euron in the chest, or in the stomach. And he kind of runs away. And Euron's looking at the sky as he's dying. He's like, I killed fucking Jaime Lannister. And he croaks. So another one bites the fucking dust. So we go back to the Lannisters and Jon Snow and Daenerys. And this is where, this episode was super polarizing. A lot of people don't like it. Some people do. I kind of fall somewhere in the middle. I really did like it, but Daenerys decides to just go nuts. The soldiers all throw down their swords, and then the bells get rung. And it's kind of implied, I mean, sort of, that Jaime rang the bells. You never see who rang the bells, but I think it was Jaime. He rang the bells. And so everyone surrenders, everything's fine. King's Landing is hers, it's Daenerys's, and she takes one look over at the Red Keep and just decides to say, fuck it. And she proceeds to roast the entire city. And I thought she was just going to kill the soldiers, but then she starts killing women and children. She's blowing everything up, killing everything that moves, everything that lives. She's burning everything. And Jon Snow's like, whoa, what the fuck? And Davos is like, I'm not quite sure what we're doing here, Jon Snow. And you're like, oh my god! So Jon Snow now has to cope with the fact that, so Grey Worm goes nuts. Grey Worm's like, alright, fuck it. So he starts killing people. And the army's moving forward. The soldiers aren't listening to Jon Snow anymore. They're trying to, like rape women, and Jon Snow has to kill one of his men because he's doing that. And they lose all control of the situation. So as we cut back to Arya and the Hound, they make their way into the main part of the Red Keep, and the Hound is like, Arya, they have this final little moment where he's like, you've got to turn back because the only thing that's waiting up there is death, and you don't die for revenge like I'm about to do. And Arya, for the first time in the show ever, calls the Hound Sandor and says thank you, and she leaves. The whole time this is happening, Cersei's up in the keep, just completely delusional. She's like, oh, well, we'll use more crossbows. And Qyburne's like, we have no more crossbows. And she's like, well, what can we, the Iron Fleet will kill him. He's like, the Iron Fleet is burning. And he's like, we have to go downstairs. So Qyburne, the Mountain, Cersei, and a couple other Kingsguard, they're going down the steps, and the Hound meets them. The Hound kills all the Kingsguards, and in an incredibly badass moment, the Mountain starts coming down towards them, and Cersei's like, please, stay near me, and she's not listening. Or he's not listening, and Qyburne's like, listen to your queen, and the Mountain just fucking drills him into a rock, and his head blows up like a cassava melon. And Cersei's like, and walks away. So this kicks off the ultimate battle, the Clegane Bowl between the Hound and the Mountain. As you would expect, the Hound doesn't really hold his own against the Mountain. He kind of gets his ass kicked. And for a brief moment, you think that his fucking eyeballs are going to get crushed in, because he's holding them and he's giving them the Oberyn treatment and everything. And as they're fighting, the keep is just collapsing around them. There's flames, there's everything. Sandor's freaking out. And he lifts him up, and he's like, as he's like drilling his eyeballs, the Hound just stabs the Mountain right in the fucking head. But even that doesn't kill him. He like backs up, and he's like, "Urgh." All of his armor's falling off, so you can see he's like a zombie. And the Hound finally just drills himself at the Mountain, and they fall into this pit of fire outside. Like, they fall all the way down, and it's like, ah! They're fucking dead. Hopefully the Mountain doesn't crawl out of that, but they're croaked. That was easily, I think, the best battle scene of the episode. So, oh, and by the way, Cersei and Jaime dead, sort of. That was dumb. They died together in the bottom of the keep, which is just, I don't know. I guess by proxy Daenerys killed her, but unsatisfying, to say the least. And as we go from there, we kind of cut away. We leave Jon. I think the last we see of Jon is him trying to figure out what's going on. Arya is now trying to escape the city, and it's this extended sequence that's got real kind of like, it feels very modern, just in the way of like there's the ash and the blood and the explosions. It feels like you're watching the bombing of like Aleppo or something, because the Daenerys is destroying everything, and Arya, she keeps trying to find somewhere safe, and every time she finds somewhere safe, it gets blown up again, and there's a lot of long takes, a lot of running shots. She's getting crushed by people, and then she's getting thrown up against walls. She tries to save a bunch of people, and then they get fucking roasted, this mom and this daughter. There's people dying everywhere. And she gets kind of crushed underneath a little bit of like rubble, and she wakes up a little bit later on, and, fighting's over, and there's this white horse that's out there, and she gets on it and rides out of the city. And that's the end of the episode. So, the main kind of point of discussion here is Daenerys' turn, because a lot of people are saying that she kind of just went nuts for no reason. The Benioff and Weiss reason for her going nuts was that she looked at the Red Keep that her family built 300 years ago, and it just made her want to burn everything. That, I think, is kind of lazy. There's been a lot of contradictions with everything that's been said. This, that. I'm just going to lay it straight for you right now. The only way that this was ever going to work out, Game of Thrones wise, is for her to turn bad. She's been bad from the very beginning. And people just kind of didn't want to admit to it because she was incredibly likable. She's a great character. She had awesome character development. And, you know, people really wanted to root for her. That's why a lot of the stuff that she's done, people have forgiven her for, the viewers, because she watched her brother. Obviously, her brother was an asshole, scumbag, and she watched him get drilled with molten gold, and she didn't react at all. She was just like, well, that's what happens when you fuck with me, basically. Then she saved Mazimo the witch in the first season. The witch cursed her, which, okay, again, I can kind of see that, but burns her alive. And her MO for the rest of the show is basically burning people alive, which I've never been burned alive, so I don't know for certain, but I'm fairly sure that it's fucking really painful. And the way that she treats everyone, even the Unsullied, is just, everybody is kind of a means to an end, because even that she's taking over these cities in Marine and Yunkai and everywhere else, Slaver's Bay, she doesn't really care about what's going on there. She really is just trying to get to the Iron Throne. And, you know, she's the breaker of chains and everything else. But they've been laying the groundwork for her to turn evil since the first season. And it would have been, I mean, you gotta admit, it would have been very, very unsatisfying for her to just kind of, like, alright, well, I am the good, just ruler, and everything's gonna be fine now because I'm queen. It would have sucked. So, her turning evil, I agree with. I'm totally into that. What I'm not into is just how quickly in this season they had to railroad it in there. Because, as I've said, she's been turning evil, or she's been evil the whole series. It's been a very, very gradual, sliding kind of scale. Very gradual. So gradual that in season 7, she was just almost kind of just doing some kind of evil shit. So what I say about that is like the loot train attack, where she attacks the train that's coming back from Highgarden. She torches everybody there, which, I mean, they're enemy soldiers. But then she roasts the Tarleys alive for not bending the knee to her. That was against Tyrion's kind of tutelage, so that was a mistake. And so, even in season 7, she's just manifesting these more evil, Mad Queen type qualities. And in season 8 that we're on right now, they really had to be like, okay, we've only got 6 episodes. She's going to end up being the main bad guy after we kill Cersei. They really had to railroad in the fact that Daenerys is evil, and that it just feels quick now because they have so few episodes. I mean, the episodes are long and everything. So I come out kind of in the middle on that. Like, I knew she was, from the very beginning, that she was probably going to be the main bad guy at the end. But the way it's been handled has been a little bit clumsy. I don't think it's bad. Like, there's this petition going around to, like, remake the last season with writers who are good. And it's like, go write your own show, you fuckers. Like, who are you, dude? You know, the DVY Stan Benioff, they know what they're doing. It just was a little bit clumsily executed, but I saw an interview with them where they said, you know what, you can't please everybody, we did the ending that we wanted to do. I respect that a lot more than them going, well, everybody wanted it to be this way, so we'll do it this way, even though we don't like it. So, to all the people out there who think that they don't know what they're doing or that they suck, like, you're basically writing off every other season of the show, because if they suck now, they must have sucked back then, so you could eat butt. But besides that, I would give this episode definitely a 9.5. It was a lot of stuff packed in there. We're going into the last episode of the season, and it's going to be real emotional, real crazy. People are dying left and right, and we're not sure who's going to live to the end of this next episode, but it's sure as fuck not going to be Daenerys. I will catch you guys next time.